Hello and welcome to another episode of Best Bets. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary, joined as always by Newsday's NFL pick columnist Joe Manniello. Joe, how are you?
Doing good, Matt. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It was a 4-1 week for me in week 9. Nice bounce back. I'll take that. 2-3 for you. But we're doing something a little different now. We're adding a sixth game because the Giants are on their third string quarterback. I don't see us spending a ton of time on each one of their games. So we're going to add a bonus pick each week, change it up, make it a little bit more fun. So I'm excited to get rolling into that. Let's start there, though, with the New York Giants, as we always start with the locals. They are playing the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Things did not go well the first time these two teams played. Big spread in this one, 16.5. Cowboys are favored. Any chance the Giants can cover this number?
I mean, there's a scenario where the Giants defense, goes all out and keeps it close. I think maybe for a half or three quarters, but I'm going to lay the points. It's the biggest spread of the season. But if you look at the Cowboys, they played 3 home games this year. They beat the Jets 30-10, Patriots 38-3, and Rams 43-20. So they're blowing teams out of home. So I don't see how the Giants keep it close enough. Even if it's close for a half, something like 34-10, even 34-17 gets it done. The 16.5. So I'll lay the points and take the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm with you. Unfortunate, really bad spot for the Giants, as they'll go with Tommy DeVito again. I think you're looking at a 30 to maybe 10 game. They might even get more than 30. That might be a little bit on the more generous side. But, Giants defense has, looked better in recent weeks, but with just how bad the offense projects to be in this one, I'll take the Cowboys as well. With the big number, 16.5. If it bites us on a backdoor cover, so be it. I don't want to be the one who's trying to talk myself into the Giants keeping it close and Dallas ends up winning by 30. So I'll lay the big number there as well with you. How about the New York Jets? They had an ugly loss on Monday Night Football. They are on the road in Vegas. They are slight favorites, favored by a point here. What's the move?
Yeah, the Jets have just been such a frustrating team to not only watch but to back. I'm 2-5-1 picking the Jets game, just like last year. I can't, when I pick them, they play poorly. When I don't pick them, Wilson outplays Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to take it one more time here. I don't like the Raiders. I think last week was, in hindsight, should have switched my pick to the Raiders after the reports that the Raiders locker room was so happy to get Josh McDaniels out of there. But I think it's similar to last year with the Jeff Saturday bump that the Colts got. They won that first game, then lost every other game. I don't think the Raiders are that good a team. They got Max Crosby, obviously. They got Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, but starting a rookie quarterback in Aiden O'Connell. The Jets defense, lost in all the awfulness of the offense. The defense played great again. They held Justin Herbert to like 136 yards, I think. So they continue to dominate top quarterbacks. O'Connell is a rookie, so I think they'll do well against him. And the Raiders defense allows the second most rushing yards per game. So I think this will actually benefit the Daniel Hackett's vanilla game plan here is feed Brees Hall over and over again. I got the Jets winning a close one, I don't know, like 2017, 2013, something like that, maybe even more low scoring. I don't trust Wilson, but I think the Jets are the better team overall. I think the defense does enough to keep it where the offense doesn't have to do that much. So, the Sunday night game in Vegas, maybe it'll be a wild game here, crazy play at the end, but I'll take the Jets to hopefully win this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to take the Jets again. The over-under, the point total is 36.5. The under sounds pretty good to me in this one. I think when you look at just how well the Jets defense has been playing, even though, the 27-6 score in that Chargers game doesn't look great, but defense was, I thought, spectacular. The 2 touchdowns they allowed were off of a fumble where the Chargers were given the ball on the 2-yard line, the other time on the 50. And for Aiden O'Connell, he's, 4th round, the rookie quarterback, wasn't expected to start, a little bit of a project. He's looked okay, I think, in the limited action that we've seen him in, but not really super mobile and has been a little bit prone to the interception early on. So I think this is a game where the Jets defense could create a turnover or two, and that should help a struggling offense. And you mentioned it with the numbers against the run. The the Raiders are not a good team against the run. So I think you give Breece Hall 20, 25 carries in this game. Just keep feeding him the rock. Don't have Zach Wilson throw the ball a whole lot. And for the Raiders, they've struggled to run the ball. Josh Jacobs, the NFL's leading rusher last year. He's averaging under 4 yards a carry this year. He's really struggled to get going. So I think this is going to be a defensive battle, low scoring, ugly game, 16-9. Something like that. I don't think either team gets to 20 points, but I'll take the better defense in this one. So I'll take the Jets -1 there. Let's get to a game that should be much better to watch, a much more interesting watch, which is our game of the week, the 49ers and the Jaguars. The Jaguars are home in this game and slight underdogs. The Jaguars are +3 in this matchup, while the 49ers are favored by 3 points. Who do you like in our game of the week?
Yeah, I think this is the toughest game of the week to pick. Two good teams. The Niners, both teams on a bye last week, which is interesting. The Jaguars have won 5 in a row, all covers. Niners have lost 3 in a row, so you wonder if the bye is going to help the Niners get back on track, or maybe it cooled off the Jaguars. There's a lot going on here. I think the spread is a little off. I don't see why the Niners are 3-point favorites, other than just being a public team and people thinking, oh wow, they're 5-0. They're gonna be fine. But I don't. They had a lot of issues exposed in that 3-game losing streak. Brock Purdy hasn't looked good, and the defense gave up a ton of yards. Kirk Cousins torched them. Joe Burrow almost had a perfect day against them. So I like the Jaguars. I think it'll be a close game, and it could be the 3-point spread could actually come into play here. I could see it being a 1-point, 2-point win. I think the Jaguars are going to win the game. I think Jaguars are almost underrated. I was underrating them earlier in the year. I think the 49ers have issues, and yeah, they had to Chase Young. Defensive line got stronger, and if they win the game, I'm not going to be surprised. They have that great defensive line, and Shanahan's a great coach. I don't know. Maybe they're not as good as we thought. Losing 3 games the way they did, they haven't even been close. I mean, except for the Browns game, that was a weird game. But I'm going to take the Jaguars. I think they're home, getting 3 points, and I'm sure they'll feed into that. Home dogs. So Doug Peterson extra week. So I'm going to take the Jaguars in a close, really good game. Maybe like 24-23, something like that.
Yeah, I could really see this game going either way, but I am going to take the 49ers -3 on the road in this one. Kyle Shanahan's 49ers teams have always kind of hit their stride in the second half of the season, and usually coming out of the bye, they've done a good job. 9-0 last year coming out of the bye, unbelievable. Second half of the season for them. As you said, limped into their bye week, though, losing 3 straight games. And Brock Purdy didn't look right. But I think going into the bye is the exact kind of reset that this team needed. Scored 17 points, 3 games in a row. This defense is still, really, really solid. They get Chase Young now to help out with that pass rush going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both teams off the bye is an interesting one, though. But I like the 49ers here. I don't see them dropping 4 in a row. I think they win a relatively tight one, but like a 24-20 kind of game, a little bit more on the lower scoring side. But I think they take care of business. Like I said, Kyle Shanahan's been very good coming out of the bye since he's taken over as their coach. And I know Jacksonville's coming in hot. I'm not quite sold on them yet. Maybe that comes back to bite me here, but I think the 49ers get back in the win column this week and cover the number. All right, let's get to best bets. What is one that jumps out to you?
All right, I'm going with the Detroit Lions, my preseason NFC champion pick. Off a bye, again with the bye. Off a bye, and the Chargers will play Monday night. So you got a team that's well rested against a team on short rest, which I like that scenario. And the game is at SoFi, so it's basically going to be a Lions home game. That Lions crowd is re-energized with Dan Campbell and first place team here. And I think the Chargers, honestly, I don't think they're overrated. I don't think they're that good. I mean, I lost, excuse me, I picked against them with the Bears and Jets last 2 weeks, and they made me look bad. But, those teams don't have the quarterback in Tyson Bagent and Zach Wilson like Jared Goff, who can pick apart the NFL's worst passing defense. I think the Lions come out with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, the really good rookie tight end, and they just score right away, 7-0, that kind of game. I think the Chargers will get their points because they have the weapons on offense, but I think the Lions will win this game convincingly, 31-24, maybe even by 2 touchdowns. It's not impressive, this Chargers team. I don't make much out of the Jets win or the Bears win. I think it's more about the other team, just not the offense is just struggling. And the Lions have the offensive line to, take care of Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa or keep them in check a little bit. I just think Jared Goff is gonna pick apart this defense. So I like the Lions, and it opened at 1.5, and it's up to 3, I think. So that tells you people are on the Lions too, which is a good sign. So Lions, that's that.
Yeah, I like the Lions a lot this week as well. I think it's a good matchup for them. For me, I'm going to go with the Steelers -3 at home against the Packers. Packers finally back in the win column after losing 4 straight games, but yet another game where they scored 20 points or less. They haven't scored more than 20 points since week 2. And this Pittsburgh defense, they win ugly. They're a team that just finds a way to win. They're sitting at 5-3, coming off a win against the Tennessee Titans. A little bit of a longer week because they played on Thursday Night Football this past week, and their defense is just absolutely unbelievable. They've played really, really incredible. Watt coming off the edge is great, and I think it's going to be a tough matchup for Jordan Love, who's really struggled after a hot start, has kind of gone ice cold. I know they won against the Rams with a backup quarterback, but I didn't think that game was all too impressive. I think it's a defensive game for the Steelers. They find their way to 20 points somehow, and that should be enough in like a 20-13 kind of game. I just don't see the Packers being able to score all too much on this Steelers defense.
Yeah, I like the Steelers too. That's actually my top over-under play of the week, under 37.5. I have like 17-13 kind of game for Steelers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Two bad offenses.
Exactly. 2 really tough offenses going at it. How about an underdog that stands out to you?
All right, so we always talk about with a team, if you think a team's going to win and they're getting points, you always take that pick. I look at the Minnesota Vikings. My friend and I were going through the picks last week, trying to guess the spread for each game before I actually looked at it. And we got most of them right, but we were both surprised, I think, that the Saints were favored in this game. Minnesota Vikings at home getting 2.5. I think, if they're not better than the Saints, they're just as good as the Saints. I think the Saints overrated. Really good defense, bad offense. And Vikings at home, I think they got something going here. They won 4 in a row. Joshua Dobbs has been the best story in the NFL. Comes over, was there for a few days. He didn't know the offense or the players' names, and had a remarkable performance against the Falcons, leading a comeback win. You saw the locker room after the game. They got something going on there. I actually think they're going to make the playoffs as the last wild card. And it's just amazing. They're not doing it without Kirk Cousins now and Justin Jefferson. But Kevin O'Connell's done a great job there. And to me, I just don't like the Saints. I think they're overrated. And I think the Vikings at home, I think they're going to win the game. So getting 2.5, be a close game. The Saints do have they have a really good defense. But I trust Dobbs. I mean, he's always, whenever you see him play, because we've seen him a lot with the Arizona playing the Giants and the Cowboys, he's always making these Mahomes type 3rd and long runs where he's like, how do you pick up the 15 yards, just running wild, and he's just doing the unthinkable. So I'm gonna keep rolling with him. And Vikings are home, getting like a home underdog. So Vikings to win outright, 27-24 kind of game.
Okay, I don't really have a strong feeling in that game, to be honest with you. I hear what you're saying on the Vikings. I don't have a strong feeling on that one. For me, I'm going to take the Texans plus 6.5 against the Bengals. The Bengals have been rolling right now, but I love this Texans team. I think C.J. Stroud is awesome. He had a stellar game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think he could put up some points and keep it close with the Bengals. I don't know if the Texans are going to have enough to win this game, especially with how good the Bengals have looked. And their offense seeming like they're finally hitting its stride with Burrow healthy. But they're they're a scrappy team that's still staying in the mix here. I don't think anyone thought with them having, 2 top picks in this past year's draft that they would be able to, hang around as much as they have. They're 4-4 in a AFC South division that's not, spectacular. And who knows, they're still they're alive in the wild card mix. They need this game just as badly, but I think they keep it within a touchdown. I'll say it's 27-24 Bengals win, but Texans cover.
Yeah, I can see it. I like the Bengals. I think the way they play right now, they look unbeatable. So I think they win by 10.
There we go. All right, let's get to those bonus picks. Another game that stands out for you.
All right, speaking of a team that looks unbeatable, I'm going with the team here. That's a rivalry game, but I'm going with the team that's just super hot. And the Baltimore Ravens at home, -6 against the Browns. I think it's 6 points.
Yep.
And, they beat them early in the year, 28-3. Watson didn't play in that game, but I don't think it would. He's playing this game. I don't think it matters. I mean, the Ravens look like a complete team. Just embarrassed the Seahawks 37-3 2 weeks ago. They beat the Lions 38-6. Is dominating good teams. So I don't see, it's a rivalry game, and the Ravens do play the Bengals Thursday night, so maybe they're looking ahead. But it's hard to look ahead against a rival, and I just think the way the Ravens are playing right now, it's one of those, don't pick against them until they give you a reason to. And I'm just going to keep riding with them. Browns defense is number one in the league, but Lamar Jackson looks like the MVP right now. He's doing it, his arm and his leg. He was actually my preseason pick for MVP. So one of the few things I feel good about with my picks this year. But I'm just not picking against the Ravens right now. I'll lay the 6. I don't think it's going to be 37-3, but they win 27-17. You're going to be surprised. I'm not. So I'll take the Ravens -6.
Yeah, I like the Ravens a lot this week too. They are a team that looks like they're just rolling. I'm going to go with the team that just got blown out by the Ravens last week and take the Seahawks -6 against the Commanders. I usually like taking these teams coming off a tough loss. The Seahawks, the last time they lost Cincinnati 17-13. They bounced back. They win 20-10 against Arizona and then a 24-20 win against Cleveland. I think this is a good matchup for them at home against Washington. Sam Howell is an interesting quarterback. He makes a lot of fun plays, but he holds onto the ball for a long time and takes a lot of sacks. And I think, the Seahawks add Leonard Williams at the trade deadline, and they have some pass rushers that could get after the quarterback. They have 2 really good corners. I think it's going to be a tough game for the Commanders to score in. I know that they, 2 weeks ago against the Eagles, they got into a shootout, but Giants contain their offense. The Patriots even did a pretty good job holding them to 20 points in what was a Commanders win. But I think Seattle gets back to looking like the team they were earlier in the season. I think it's maybe a 27-17, 24-17 kind of game. They win by a touchdown to 10 points. I just don't trust the Commanders in this spot against the Seahawks defense.
Yeah, I'm taking the Commanders because I just think it's a wild game. And the Seahawks are they're both the teams are hard to figure out. So I think 6 points is a lot, but you make the points. Who knows?
Let's run through these real quick. Both Joe and I are on the Cowboys -16.5. Both on the Jets -1 in Vegas. Game of the week, 49ers, Jaguars. I'm going to take the 49ers. Joe is on Jacksonville. Best bet. My best bet is Steelers -3 against the Packers. Joe is going with the Lions -3 against the Chargers. Underdog picks, Texans +6.5 against the Bengals for me. Joe is going with the Vikings +2.5 against the Saints. And bonus bets, we just did them. Seahawks -6 against the Commanders and Ravens -6 against the Browns for Joe. Joe, I appreciate you joining me as always. We'll talk again soon.
All right, Matt. Great job. Thanks.